Live with the Vodkast. We have Mr. Matt Kuntz on this morning. Matt, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. And you, Kelly? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. That beard is approaching what I think my son would call epic.
Well, it used to be better. Now it's
Really?
trim. Yeah,
Well, yeah, I remember it was longer, right?
it was. My
How
wife
much
wanted it
how
off.
much longer? How much longer was it? 6 inches longer?
Well, it would be my COVID beard, so could have been much longer.
If we had some real technology involved on my side, I would be able to juxtapose the two
Yeah,
pictures. That would have been ideal.
next time.
Yeah, next time I'll have all kinds of a crack staff in the background that can
Love
quickly
it.
get pictures. You're not known as someone that spends a lot of time posting your image on the internet, so it might be hard to actually
No,
find
I stay
that.
away from it, so this is uncomfortable.
So, Matt, uh, you lead our quality assurance and testing group.
I do.
Um, and I wonder, is testing only associated with software? So when I tell people that, should I be saying the software testing group, or do you guys test? What is the QA versus the testing?
Well, very good question. So no, it doesn't include software. It can include hardware or device testing. As we get into the medical device industry, some people are testing the actual device and the hardware and the firmware that's on it. That may be related to the software itself. So the difference between quality assurance and testing is a function of quality assurance. I like to say simply that quality assurance is the overall processes and how you build something, and testing is to ensure that it's working as it should. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. And so the quality assurance is more, the testing is going to be more on the software side. The quality assurance is going to be medical device,
Well,
different
the quality
hardware.
assurance would be the process of how you build. Like if you think about capturing requirements, how your information communication flows from team members. When you get a defect, how do you respond to it? How do you approve requirements, review them? The testing is making sure that it's working as it should or isn't doing what it's not supposed to be doing.
You mentioned the medical device. Is that
Yep.
something we've done before? Do we go in and work with companies on their quality assurance for medical devices?
Yeah, we used to spend some time at Boston. Well, we do spend some time with Boston Scientific. I don't know precisely if we're doing any medical device testing there. Personally, I've done some at Medtronic, being involved in projects there with device testing. Think of POS systems, point of sale systems, something like Target, Best Buy, that they're using scanning devices to read codes for pricing or product information. We've done testing on that, or I personally have myself, just scanning codes, making sure that the data is getting pulled correctly or
Okay.
scanned correctly.
How many people on our staff are QA people versus testing people, and does it break out by automated testing versus manual testing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would think that everyone on my team is a quality assurance professional, means that they're trying to adhere to standards. Um, and there is also testing components that go along with that. So, quality drives everything that we do. Example, your headphones that you have on there, someone had to design those. There's probably design specs that are followed. You plug it in and there's a jack that standardized. That's a quality design process. No, testing them to make sure that they work with all types of plug-in outlets. Computers would be a testing function. So I would say the majority of the team is doing, well, they're all doing some component of testing, but they're all concerned with quality, the overall quality of their service. If that makes any sense.
It does, yeah.
From an automation standpoint, it's probably 50-50. People are doing manual testing and doing some sort of automation. That there's a misconception in the industry that you're either automated or you're manual, and that's not necessarily the case. You got to make sure that things work generally before you can. So, regardless of automation or no automation, you're still walking through the process of doing the manual testing to make sure it works first.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. How much does the methodology, we over the last 10 years or 7 years, we've seen a lot of people talk about Agile, different methodologies that are coming into environments to try to improve the overall quality of many different processes. How does that impact, quality assurance and testing that you do?
Yeah, I think I'll speak on behalf of most of the consultants out there. They probably prefer the Agile methodology just because requirements are getting to them sooner. They're able to test it sooner. They're able to turn around, find bugs or defects sooner, retest that, and make sure it's working. So it's chunked up in components. It could be an epic, or it could be features or stories that are associated with different deliverables that you get a real time instead of the old waterfall methodology that you'd spend 6 months on requirements, either review them, approve them, you build them out, and then they might be out of date. So you'd have to restart defining some of those requirements. There's certain projects or certain probably industries that can still align with Agile or waterfall. Most of them have been moving to an Agile SDLC.
Okay. Are there particular industries that the software group is experts in? Does that matter in your opinion, or
SDLC? No. I would say if you're a tester, you're going to go into an environment where you might be familiar with software, you may not be. You have to learn it. You have to learn the requirements, how they're going to use it. So it's always new for a tester. I think they can adjust quickly. That's the beauty of being a tester or a quality assurance professional. You're going to go into different environments. You're going to look at different software, different integration touch points. You're going to have to learn how it's working. So, when we get these requests that they have to have expertise in a system, yeah, that helps get you up to speed, but drilling down into the requirement is going to be the key, and that's where the expertise comes in.
Okay.
Where you can look at it, look at the definition of it, put scenarios around it, making sure that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, and equally important, making sure that it's not doing what it's not supposed to be doing. We see that where someone might test something out. Yep, it works, but did you try this scenario, this scenario, this scenario? No, I didn't try it, but it works. And then you get users' hands on it, and they try to break it and do unique scenarios with it, and that's where sometimes we run into issues. I think there was with this security testing too, that becomes a different piece in the industry. It sounds like there was some news breaking that one of our local firms had some security problems. So
I've heard that. That rumor that does the world of consistent security threats change what QA testers are expected to know and anticipate and test for in today's world?
Yeah, in some cases, there's different tools out in the industry that allow us to do some penetration testing. There's security tools that allow you to test certain parameters of that. Not all the testers are expertise in that. Some of them go into an assignment or a work culture where they're looking at functionality or integration, or database testing in the back end where you're looking at ETL testing specifically and just handling the data movement behind the scenes. So I would say it's more of a specialized skill to do security and penetration testing to make sure applications are made whole and they can't be breached. And sometimes it's an afterthought. Companies think, well, we'll never get attacked. And then voila, you look back and say, whoops.
Yeah, we're getting attacked. Yep. Yeah, and it seems like it's not consistent. Like you have these diametrically opposed goals at some level within applications as speed, best performance, and then on the other side is someone saying, it needs to be completely locked down and it needs to be bulletproof security wise. And those two things I think are probably hard to get to come together and have both of those. And so
Yeah.
you're balancing that, I'm assuming, as a QA
Well, I think you
person.
try to, you touched on performance testing or, outside of security testing, you want to make sure the application works as it should. So there's functional testing, there's integration testing, then you get into the security aspect of it, then you get into the performance aspect of it too. Generally, you'll see companies that want to build their application and then it's time to market, right? Let's get it out there. We think we're good. And then the performance degradation happens and then they get a performance tester in there. It really comes down to budget planning, what's in the best interest, how many people are going to use it. Not a lot of companies do performance testing as they should. It's usually an after fact where we have performance issues. We need to do some performance testing, failover testing, finding out where our system's breaking, but it's really dependent on your users too.
Would you say that our group, if you're hiring Logisolve's testing group, we are going to be considering the security component within the testing, and we are going to consider the performance testing within the application? Is that part of, if you're bringing us in at a level where we're to look at that, is that something we do?
Yeah, if you're involved in the test planning process, you're going to at least ask those questions and find out what our plan is around that and how we want to manage it. You have to at least bring it up, and every quality professional should be asking those questions. What is our plan around security testing, performance testing before we go live?
Yeah.
But then again, we have existing applications out there that we help support in the industry. So multiple team members might get pulled into a team that needs additional staff to get some testing done, get it out the door. It could be too far gone. Even if you do ask those questions, it may be irrelevant at that point where it's time to market.
Yeah. Do you think you have, is a QA tester better off not knowing anything about the industry? Sometimes I think that walking in and having no clue can be a benefit versus being an expert in the particular industry, because you start to make assumptions and know things that that then get in the way of the perspective of testing every little tiny component. Do you see that at all?
I would agree with that to some degree. As you get up to speed, I'm working on an application now that is new to me. So there's a learning curve that goes along with it. But having some ignorance is always good because you can ask the questions of why or how this is supposed to work. Why or how does this work? Should it work this way? I always think of a little kid too. You're around little kids and they ask questions that adults don't even think of. So it's always good to have that ignorance to some degree going in instead of saying, I'm an expert at this. I know everything about it. You don't until you know the environment, the culture, and the people.
Yeah. Very good. Well, Matt Kuntz, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yeah.
And for everyone else out there, you're watching the Vodkast.
Have a great day.